It is now David Vogelpohl. Now it's the time. He's the CMO at Fastspring. It's a payments company. So David, all right, here you are.
Hey Pep, how's it going?
Really good. How are things with you?
Good, good. The content's been great so far. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I think last time you and we saw each other at SaaStock conference. You guys were sponsoring. So you sponsoring more events this year?
We sure are. I definitely have a mention of that in my 3 key bets for the year.
Okay. All right. Well, don't let me get ahead of the program here. So yeah, maybe let's do your 3 bets and then we'll discuss after.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That'd be great. And sorry for joining Nicole's session midstream. I kind of hit the wrong button there, but her bets were great. But I'm really honored to be here, and thank you for asking me. And I want to thanks to everyone here for joining this session to hear about my 3 key bets for the year, and what I'm leaning into here at Fastspring to build on our tremendous momentum and performance from last year. So for us, last year was a record year. Pipeline, bookings, pretty much any primary KPI you can think of, we destroyed the plan, and it was record years all around. So one of the challenges for us in 2024 is to keep going up and to the right. We need to have an even bigger year this year to hit and exceed our financial plans. Of course, as a friend once told me that if you're going up and to the right, every year is a record year. So it's kind of the game that we all signed up for. Before I get into my 3 bets, I think it's helpful to understand a little bit of the context of the environment that I sit in here at Fastspring. Fastspring, as Pep pointed out, is a payment provider, and we focus exclusively on SaaS software and digital product companies like video games or e-learning, things like that. And the reason why we focus on just digital product companies is because we offer a fully managed platform, which includes multiple payment processors around the world, and also tax compliance. So we calculate the taxes, we collect it from the buyers, remit it to the taxing authorities, file and audit and all that stuff. And so that restricts the type of customers that we can focus on to digital product companies. Another interesting thing about our business is that we compete with much bigger brands. And I'm guessing there's a lot of people in the audience who deal with this today, especially if you're in a startup. And so one of the big brands we compete against is Stripe. The model of Fastspring is called a merchant of record model. That's all that tax stuff I mentioned a little earlier. So we both have the challenge of competing against a large competitor that's very difficult to gain attention over, as well as an unknown model. So if you have a startup that has big players in your space and maybe some new innovative technology that people aren't aware of, this is a similar kind of situation that I find myself in as we think about 2024. And then finally, we have customers across multiple segments. We have SaaS and software and video game and e-learning and so on and so forth. And this presents a lot of opportunity, a lot of places to go advertise, communities to engage in, events to exhibit at, but it also leaves a lot of room to get distracted. So this is the environment I find myself in, and I would imagine a lot of you find yourselves in similar environments. So let me tell you about my 3 bets for achieving this and really exceeding our goals in 2024. So first off, one of my favorite marketing quotes of all times is, all things being equal, people will do business with a friend. All things being unequal, people will still do business with a friend. And so for my first bet this year, Fastspring will be further supporting our customers' communities, so the communities that they find valuable, through strategies like exhibiting at events. I heard you talk to Nicole about that earlier. Pep, we could talk more about that during Q&A time. Hosting micro events, public speaking, but more important than any of those things is encouraging our team to go deep in participating in the communities our customers belong to and find valuable. So we're not scientists coming in from the outside trying to market to them. Our objective is broadly, not just the marketing team, but our sales engineering, product engineering, to go deep in the communities that our customers find valuable. Many marketers think of things like events, community, and social marketing as channels. But if you really want to get the most bang for your buck, you're going to encourage your team to get fully embedded within the communities you're targeting. In other words, to be a member of the communities, not to be marketing at them just from the outside. Your goal is to figure out not, of course, how to market to those communities, but rather to figure out how to join them. For Fastspring, we'll measure this strategy, this bet for the year, based both on things like pipeline and bookings from the events that we exhibit at, but more importantly, by the number of friends we make. All things being equal, people will do business with a friend. All things being unequal, people will still do business with a friend. So being a friend in the communities we target is going to be a key strategy for Fastspring for 2024. Next up, many of Fastspring's SaaS and software companies use our platform to optimize their free trials. So it's probably no surprise that one of our big bets for the year is to optimize our own free trial process, both from the product perspective, how you experience the free trial, and from the marketing automation around that. From the product side, we're making improvements to make it easier for our new free trial users to experience the value of our platform and move on to that next step to become a full-fledged customer. From the marketing side, we're enhancing our marketing automation to help reduce clicks that our B2B free trial users might need to do in order to get in touch with a sales team or a sales engineer. And this will be both on our email nurture side, but also within our free trial portal experiences. And so reducing that friction and improving the experience is going to be critical for us. And so fundamentally, by improving our usability and decreasing friction, we believe these will be critical drivers to our success. Because again, Fastspring is a B2B company where we're coupling both the free trial and a sales-assisted motion. We'll measure this strategy by looking for improvements in our free trial signups to meetings set with salespeople conversion rate, and of course, ultimately onto pipeline and bookings. And then my final key bet for 2024 is to push beyond boundaries. In our businesses and Fastspring and your business, we all experience boundaries that can limit our ability to grow. They could be real, they could be self-imposed for different reasons. And so one of our key bets for 2024 is to push past some of the boundaries that we feel can help us not only achieve our success in 2024, but way beyond. So to keep moving up into the right, we find it's going to be critical to push through and push beyond boundaries. So that's why for our final bet for the pushing beyond boundaries will be further expanding our presence internationally, including with our new presence in Asia via Singapore. We're expanding more deeply into our burgeoning segments like video games. So you may have segments in your business and prospects where you're like, oh, maybe we should lean into that one. That'll be a key part of our strategy to push beyond boundaries. We have a pretty beefy B2B roadmap at Fastspring this year, so we'll be leveraging that to gain more prospects and customers from that segment of our business. And so these are the ways that we identified the boundaries we might want to push beyond that would provide opportunities our business. So I'd encourage you to think through the same and what are the boundaries that you can push beyond to open up years and years of potential opportunity for your business. We'll measure this strategy by the pipeline and bookings we generate from each geography, customer segment, and company type we target. And so that wraps up my 3 bets for 2024. I hope you all found value in that. I'm certainly looking forward to hearing from others today at Winter Games to see what their 3 big bets will be. But I want to thank you all for joining me and listening to all that. So Pep, what do you think? What do you think about those 3 bets? Any questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, David. I have multiple questions. Yeah, let's pick up that events topic and follow through there. So, how big of a contribution, or how big a so sponsoring events is that a significant part of pipeline? Is that a small thing? How are you thinking about it?
It's a significant driver of pipeline. It's both from exhibiting at events and then doing what we call attend only, where we send sales reps and different members from the team to just attend the event. But yeah, it's a material percentage of the pipeline.
And when you send people to attend, that is salespeople or who?
Typically, it would be a salesperson. There's also different flavors of attend only. So you can attend only where you literally just send someone to go and like scout out to see, are there a lot of prospects there? Another flavor would be to send them with a swag pack that they can kind of keep in a backpack or whatever to hand out as they go along the way. We also are fans of coupling that up with like a micro event. I heard Nicole talking a little bit about this, like a happy hour or something connected to the event. So that's what kind of falls under the quote attend only bucket versus exhibiting.
Yeah, I love the idea of micro events because, you know, a lot of times companies have this mindset that everything needs to be big. We do one conference per year and we do this one research study and we do one big market research, you know, like, well, why? Why can't you do like 27 small ones?
Yeah, I was just going to say they can be really valuable, especially if you're going to a very large conference where like your target prospects are a small percentage of the overall attendees. And so I call this like flying your freak flag, if you will, like, hey, y'all, this is the area for this topic. And if you can do that on a consistent basis, you can make that a habit for people when they go back to these events. And it's a great way at big events to like slice out the group of folks that you're really interested in, hopefully not in a bait and switch way, but I'm a really big fan of that.
You mentioned you guys are expanding to Singapore. So is like going to new markets, a thing you've done before? Do you already know what it all looks like, or?
I've done that several times, including expanding into Asia in various roles I've had over the years. So I'm very familiar with that. I think, you know, obviously some of the big challenges there can be localization, not just like translating your website, but like, what about your product? What about your support? What about these elements? Fastspring actually has a lot of revenue that was already coming in from Asia. We just hadn't, quote, focused on it. And so by focusing on it, we hope to drive more success there.
And so what does that look like? So you set up like customer support in those time zones, legal compliance issues. What else is involved there?
Well, there's multiple levels of legal compliance issues. So I mentioned earlier how Fastspring's a merchant of record. So we help with tax and VAT compliance around the world. So we already had all that set up. But it does include having a salesperson in Singapore to start, growing from there, and then targeting our advertising in Asia-based publications, Asia events, even things like Asia, you know, paid search in Asia. My personal favorite approach when going international is to take an iterative approach to localization. So Fastspring is in English, the platform, although we support like 21 languages on the external facing side of our payment platform, but like our platform is in English. And so I like to take that iterative approach and then start to layer in the localization at each step of the funnel along the way. And it helps you take advantage of new markets without having to like upend your whole company to localize every little bit of it for, you know, your first foray.
Yeah. I was speaking to the CEO of Factorial HR, which is like HR platform. They're like based out of Spain, but they're all over the world. It's like a unicorn, big company. And he told me that in their internet, like expanding to different countries, like a key thing is also pricing strategy. Whereas, for instance, in Spain, everybody expects steep discounts. So whatever is on your pricing page is only like, it's fake. Actually, it's much cheaper. You just have to ask for it. Whereas in Germany, nobody ever, haggles, ever. You know, so are you guys seeing any pricing differences?
You know, that's really interesting because Fastspring has a lot of data on coupon usage across SaaS and software companies. I'm going to have to go look at our data to see if we have any interesting signals there. But for Fastspring, most of the companies we compete against generally have global rates. And so Fastspring also has a global rate. I have experienced pricing differences between geos and willingness to pay in other roles. And so you may, depending on, you know, access to, disposable income or budgets, if you're going B2B, you may need to price differently in different geos. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But I think what that creates for a global company is that people will see that pricing. Like, why is your pricing cheaper in India than in North America? And one of my favorite ways to deal with that One, if you have a reason for it, like, I don't know, the servers in India are cheaper, that's why. Okay, great, awesome. But what I found more valuable is to come up with a new plan with a different level of entitlements that is cheaper or more expensive for the region. And this will help you rationalize it to your customers if they come knocking later wondering why it's cheaper in one geo versus another.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah, at CXL we did this based on IP address. It's different pricing, and the price change is based on their purchasing parity. Basically, poorer countries pay less because otherwise it's too much. Awesome, David. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Pat. Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
I'll see you around soon, I'm sure.
All right.
And everybody give Dave a follow on LinkedIn.